sorry about the car. This is gonna be like my new setting because I literally just do not have time to film at home anymore. It just doesn't work because I either am at home with kids or I'm out with the kids or I'm out riding and the kids are at home. So it's like just not quiet at my house ever. So, but that's okay because I can film here with you guys and it's quiet. Anyway, I've got my coffee. Let's talk about riding tips. So today I wanted to talk about my 5 favorite tips from riders. The first one I feel is a little well, it's not controversial because I think most riders would agree with me about this, but my first tip is to finish the draft. Finish your story. I feel like sometimes beginning riders get stuck in one of 2 loops where you're either you write a few chapters of one story and it's not going well and it's just not clicking, and so you start another story and you get a few chapters into that and then that's not working, and so you start another story and then that one doesn't work, and so you just get into this loop of having all these different starts and not really getting anywhere. Or you get into this other loop where you write those few chapters and then you just constantly edit those chapters, trying to get them perfect before you move on. And then, you know, a year or 2 later, or however long, you've got those 3 chapters, but you haven't continued with the story. So as much as it sucks, my first tip is to finish the story. You've got to write all the way to the end of that story and just keep going and push through it. But once you do, you've got a first draft. And that first draft is perfect because the only requirement out of a first draft of a book is to exist. And you've got to know that where that first draft is the worst it's ever going to be. Any amount of editing after that or polishing that you do will only make the story better. But there's this insight that comes to having a completed story in front of you. And it doesn't matter if it's full of plot holes or, you know, mistakes or grammar or bad plot twists or whatnot. Once you reach the end of the story, you can see the completed arc. And once you have the whole story written out in front of you, it's easier, like, okay, so I need to fix this because of this, instead of getting caught in those drafts. So, finish the draft. Tip number 2, start another draft. Once you've finished that first draft, start another story. Even if switching your time up between editing and writing your first story and writing your second story, you just want to keep that first draft process, that writing process going. So you start another draft and you keep going. My third tip would be tracking. Tracking is something I wish I should have done from the start, because without that data from the beginning, I can't really see how far I've come. It's really only been the last year or so that I've really seriously tracked my writing data. And what I mean by that is I'm tracking my words per day, and not necessarily setting a 500 word a day goal and meeting it, but just tracking. I was like, okay, I wrote from 9 to 11 a.m. this morning, and I wrote, 200 words, and I had this many distractions, and I was in this location at this coffee shop, and I was listening to this music. And you don't have to get as detailed as that, but I find that when I track my time like that, and what times a day I'm working, and what project I'm working in, and what phase that project's in, whether I am drafting or whether I'm editing. And I also track my method, like whether I'm working in Scrivener or I'm handwriting or I'm dictating or I'm, typing on my phone. Having all that, so that way I can look back in the last week or month or even quarter and see, okay, well, these were the times that I was getting the most words in. I really seemed to be hitting a flow at, you know, right at 9 a.m. in the morning. So maybe this next coming week, I need to really focus on getting some 9 a.m. writing spots. So having that tracking, having that data to kind of project and figure out when your best writing times are and when you're the most focused really helps, not just in getting the words in, but then just by feeling accomplished and getting that good mood. Tip number 4 from writers: read. You gotta read everything and anything you can get your hands on, whether it's fiction in your genre that you're writing, fiction outside of your genre, craft books, nonfiction books, graphic novels, anything that tells a story can help you. Now with me, I have a really hard time reading fiction while I'm writing fiction. So I use the time when I'm drafting and really into my own stories to read nonfiction and craft books and kind of work on that side of things. And then when I stop drafting and when I'm editing, or maybe I've got something out to beta readers, that's the time when I kind of get into fiction. And when I do get into fiction, I tend to like binge read. So I'll read like 7 to 8 books in a week or 2 weeks, and I just like go through them. Reading is important, and I really highly recommend that you keep reading. I know it can be hard to read when you've got so many other things on your plate, but you just gotta find time to make it happen, because it really does make a difference. Maybe I can do another video. Let me know in the link in the comments below if you'd like a video on how I manage my time, or how I find time to fit all these different aspects of writing into my schedule. So yeah, I think that would be a fun video to have. Last tip. My last tip is to find a writing buddy. I love having writing buddies, not just in person in my town that I can go out and meet up and write with, but also online that I can jump on and say, hey, do you want to sprint for 20 minutes? And that kind of thing. There's so many communities out there that you can join. NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month, has a great forums section, and it's a great way to meet other writers in your area through the local regions. There's other communities. If you check your local libraries, most of them will have some sort of writing group or book clubs that you can get together and find other writers in. There's also, you know, the community colleges have creative writing courses, so you might be able to find writing groups connected with them. Really, there's so many ways to reach out and meet other writers that's local or online. There's tons of Facebook groups. There's, again, NaNoWriMo has a great Facebook group. There is the 10-Minute Novelist, which is a great community and full of resources and classes and events. You know, Reddit has a number of subreddits for writers. You can find individual genres there, you know, self-publishing groups and stuff like that. Recently, I've joined a few Discord servers. They're all focused on different aspects of writing that are just amazing, and they're great communities, and you just kind of gotta try a few, find the ones that resonate the most with you and stick with them. Having a writing buddy can make such a difference. Having that external support system, someone you can go and bounce ideas off of, or just to know that even when you're at home in the dead of night, that you're not the only one out there working on a book, or not the only one having issues with a book. Because writing can feel very solitary when you're, you know, at home in your office or on your couch or at your kitchen table and the house is quiet, and it can be such a struggle sometimes. But once you start connecting with the other writers and meeting with them, it just kind of changes everything, and it makes it feel not like so much like a chore. I really hope you've enjoyed these tips on writing. If you liked my video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below how I did. I'm hoping to get back into more of these, but like I said, I'm kind of strapped for time and location, so hopefully my car isn't such a horrible place to have a chat. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time.